Today on Adversity Strength, I'm joined by Monae Evans for a deeply honest conversation about identity, grief, resilience, and rebuilding yourself after life-changing discoveries. At just 4 years old, Monae's understanding of strength was shaped forever after her mother was hit by a drunk driver and given only 5 years to live. Defying all expectations, her mother survived for more than 30 years, becoming a powerful example of resilience, love, and determination throughout Monae's life. But later in adulthood, Monae's world changed again when an ancestry DNA test revealed that the man she believed was her biological father was not actually related to her. Overnight, she was forced to navigate a completely new understanding of identity, family, and belonging, while discovering a biological father who never knew she existed and four sisters she had never met. In this powerful conversation, we explore grief, DNA discovery, identity shock, generational patterns, resilience, healing, and the emotional impact of rebuilding your sense of self after major life changes. Monae also reflects on losing her mother, balance and personal transformation alongside professional success, and learning to live with greater intention and authenticity and adversity. This is a deeply human conversation about truth, loss, identity, healing, and finding strength through life's most difficult moments. Monae, it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the podcast finally.
Thank you so much for having me, Lee. I am really excited to be here. You and I have had a conversation or two, and I've enjoyed them. And I'm really comfortable for this to be the very first time that I share this story publicly.
I feel totally honored to have you on there for the first one there as well. So, first question, take us back to the beginning. Where did your journey start for you?
So, my journey unknowingly began in Montgomery, Alabama. I knew that I was conceived during my mom was in college. Initially, she thought she was going to give me up for adoption. She got pregnant in college first year and then went to my aunt was actually going to legally adopt me. So it was very one of those situations where it was like very southern and quiet. She goes off somewhere, she's pregnant, and then by the time she got to full term, she just did not want to give me up. So she ended up
Yeah.
giving birth to me and raising me. And first, let me say, shout out to mommy. She's a phenomenal human. I have learned so many things from her, and I'm so grateful to have had her in my life as long as I did. So moving forward, after there was me, and then 18 months later came my brother. And so from there, my mom is now raising two children. At the age when I was 4 years old, unfortunately, my mom was hit by a drunk driver and it paralyzed her from the neck down. Quadriplegic, unable to move any limbs, was in the hospital in some type of care facility for 2 years plus that I recall. I remember spending a lot of time there's a hospital in Birmingham, Alabama called UAB. She was there for a very long time, and I spent a lot of time there growing up. So after she got home, my grandmother, who's her mother, is a nurse, and she began as her caregiver. I will say that dynamic was very stressful because if anyone has been a caregiver, they understand how stressful that is alone, right? But then my mom also had two children that this caregiver was also navigating raising. So I grew up in a house with my mom, my grandmother, and my great grandmother, and my little brother. So it was kind of like the village came together to raise the kids, myself and my brother. My aunt lived across the street. She was incredibly active in our lives. She was like another mom to me. My uncle lived right down the other road. It was all of my family was really close to me. So growing up, I didn't necessarily feel that we were super different. There was no dad in the house and my mom was a quadriplegic. However, they all did a really good job to try to make us feel like we were having a normal life. I think once I got to like middle school and I'm realizing like kids have dads. Like I had a dad, but he wasn't really around. So the dad that I believed was my dad growing up was again phenomenal person, but addiction got the best of him. So has fought through that his entire adult life, which has been my entire life. So there was a lot of resentment for me with him. There was a lot of resentment initially because I would say things. My grandmother and I did not get along, and I do believe now looking back she was in a really difficult position to having to take care of her daughter,
Yeah.
working full time, also raising these kids that she did not have. She was put in a really bad space. And as an adult woman, I can identify with just being overwhelmed, and she was just exhausted. So it didn't bring out the best in her. So she and I didn't really get along that well. And I remember calling my dad, like, come get me. Like, I don't want to live here anymore. Come get me. And he never did. However, on the other side of that, my mom never told me he was on drugs either. She just let it kind of play out. She was just like, if he can, he will. When he can, he will see you. She let it play out and never put anything in my head to make me feel differently about him. I loved him and I wanted to know, like, at certain points in my life, he was incredibly active. And then it would be years where he would go MIA, and I didn't understand that. But she let me figure it out on my own, and I do think that that was the best way for me to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
She never gave me any impression. When I found out he was on drugs, he called me and told me he was on drugs. So we had that moment and it was devastating. I was sad and heartbroken, but it made so much sense looking back at, like, this is why you're not around. Because again, at times he was around all the time. And then at other times he would disappear for years on end. So moving past that, life is life. It continues to go on. Things were great until they weren't. My mom, when she had this car accident, she was given a 5-year life expectancy, like you mentioned, and she surpassed that. And so for me, again, growing up, I knew my mom was paralyzed, but I never knew that was close to, like, passing. I never knew that that was even a thing. Nobody told me that until I was an adult. So I've seen my mom overcome so many things. I've seen comas. I've seen her just not be able, like, this head trauma from this accident has caused so many different things throughout her life. And I've been present for most of them. So in my mind, my mom can overcome everything. Nothing is going to knock her down. I've seen her overcome the impossible. And then once I got older and realized she was only given 5 years to live, my mom had goals that she set.
Yeah.
She told us these goals. The first goal was she was going to see her 2 kids graduate from high school. That was her big number one. She surpassed that. The second goal was, then I started having kids. I want all of my grandkids to not only know who I am, but to have a real relationship with me. That was goal number 2. And so my kids range in age from 4 to 19. My mom she was not only the best grandmother, she was so present, she was so active. And again, as a mom, as a woman, to experience people that have all cards stacked against them and they are still just, like, doing all the great things. It's impressive to watch. And I remember my mom telling me when I was little, it's like, these are the cards that I was dealt, and I'll always play the best hand that I can. And I use that all the time in my day to day.
It's a good
Like,
way of looking at it.
it is. I mean, for someone that is bedridden, that
Yeah.
was a super athlete. She was in college on a volleyball scholarship. She was an athlete. She was very active. She was always moving around to now being bedridden. And this is how you look at life. Like, you have this
Yeah.
very positive outlook on life. That alone, looking back at it, I'm just like, how? I'm a mom of 4 and I'm just like, there are days where I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, I can't deal with this anymore." But then I think
Yeah.
about what she said. I have to play with the best hand with the cards that I'm dealt. So let's fast forward, right? He's a better grandfather than he was a dad. He's
Yeah.
clean. He gets better. I moved from Tuscaloosa, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia. He's staying with me. At times he's a truck driver. So he would kind of position his route to come stay with me and the kids, which was really nice. We were really getting into a groove with our relationship. Fast forward a little bit more, at 36 years old, I'm currently 40, so this is still somewhat new. At 36 years old, my brother is like, let's take this ancestry DNA test. And the reason being for that was we knew that we had family members from where we're from in this little bitty town out right outside of Tuscaloosa. We knew that we had family members that we weren't aware of. Specifically, we knew that we had white family members that we weren't aware of because my great grandmother that I mentioned is mixed. However, we never knew who her father was. My brother really wanted to go deep into where did we come from? Who are we related to? Because in these very small towns, everybody knows everybody. So he's like, my best friend from high school could actually be my cousin. And he tried that could be the case. So 36, he had been pressing me, take this test, take this test, take this test. I didn't care too much to take the test. It wasn't like I'm not looking for anything and I'm not looking for anybody. And there was something that happened where he sent me a link and it was like this coupon code and he was like, please take it for me. I was like, all right, I'm going to take this dang test for you. I don't care anything about it. I get my results back from Ancestry DNA and it looks nothing like I expected it to look like. My
Yeah.
first call My first call before even calling my mom at this time, my first call was to my cousin on my dad's side. And I'm like, "You're not on here. Nobody's on here." And I'm naming names like, "I don't know any of these people." And she's like, "I don't know any of these people either." And first thing she says is, "They just got it wrong. Just redo it." I knew in my gut this is not wrong. So then my next call was to my mother. And we had a conversation, but let's be clear, she had a traumatic brain injury and she's like, I can't help you, essentially. As professionally, I'm a recruiter. And so I immediately get on LinkedIn and just start looking for these names like, hey, can you help me? I'm sending these very random messages like, I'm looking for my biological dad. Do you know who he could be? And I don't have a name because the way Ancestry DNA tests work is if they haven't taken the test, then their name won't be on there. So I just see his family members.
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to
Yeah.
these family members and I'm digging deeper like, who do you know in your family that could have gone to Alabama State around 1985? And so really nobody was helping me. And then I had one person message me back and she gave me last names to look for that were not actually because there's multiple last names. People have gotten married, people have changed their name,
Yeah.
whatever, right? I don't know the name that I should be specifically looking for. She gave me 2 last names, so I just start digging. Mind you, she's younger than me, so she doesn't know who was in Alabama in '85. She's
Yeah.
probably 10 or 12 years younger than me. So I'm looking for these last names and I see a couple of people. I see a man and his last name is Waker. I'm looking for both last names. His last name's Waker. And I'm Googling, I'm searching, like maybe he owns a business, which I found him on LinkedIn. He owns a business and his phone number was there. This is June 22nd of 2022. This date is significant because this was also this man's birthday. So I call him because his number's on LinkedIn. I call him. It's probably 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, hey, I need you to sit down because I need to ask you something, maybe tell you something, but I don't know for sure yet. So he's like, who is this? What is it? The only reason he answered the phone is because he thought it was somebody calling him to tell him happy birthday. So he's like, "Who is this? What's going on?" And I'm telling him the story, and I took this test, and I think that you could possibly be my biological dad. He's like, "There's no way. I have 4 daughters. I know all of my daughters. Today's my birthday. We're going to have to revisit this conversation." In my mind, there's no way this man is going to ever call me back ever in life, right? However, doing all of this messaging that I had been doing before I actually found him, I had found my biological sister unknowingly. So I found her on Instagram and I had reached out to her before I reached out to him. She just didn't get back to me soon. So that later that night, she was like, "Hey," like on Instagram, "Hey, maybe I can help." Of course, she's not thinking I'm her sister. She's like, "Maybe I can help. Who do you think your dad is?" And at this point, I did have a name of a possibility. I
Yeah.
say the name, I put the name in the text, and then I just see the dots moving. You know, when you're like sending message, I just see the dots. And it took a minute, and she said, "That's my dad." I am a girl that has had one brother my entire life. Always wanted sisters. That was something that I thought would be cool and
Yeah.
exciting. But she was like, "That's my dad." And so then I go, "How many of y'all are there?" She's like, "It's 4 girls. It's 4 of us." And so anyway, we start talking. We're talking literally all night. From the moment I spoke to her, I felt a connection with her, which
Yeah.
was really nice. It was great because it was like, so my entire life growing up, another thing that really stuck out to me, which is the reason that I didn't think that this test was false by any means. I've always told my mom, like, I know you're kind of like, I'm not like anybody in my mom's family. I don't act like anybody. I don't look
Yeah.
like anybody. I'm so very different. I'm like the black sheep of this family. I love them. They love me, but I am very different. So I would always say to my mom, like jokingly, "Ma, I will love you no matter what, but just let me know who my real parents are so I can see, like, I can see some of me in them." And she would always kind of like laugh it off, like, "Girl, I carried you, whatever, whatever," right? It was never really a thing. But I said this my entire childhood because I never saw myself in anybody.
Yeah.
When I met this family, my biological dad's family, I saw myself. In all of these women, in my aunts, in my dad, I saw myself. And that was the first time in my life that I had seen myself in another human. And it was great, but it was also very scary. And so eventually the next day, he called me back as he said he would. And I was like, "I don't want anything from you." At the time, I was married, I have a family. Like, I don't need anything
Yeah.
but closure to this. Please take this test to confirm that this is or isn't so I know how to move. Um, we meet up maybe 2 or 3 days later. I see him and I don't see me in him necessarily, but I could see I'm looking at him and his other kids, like pictures of his other kids, and I'm just like, there's one, my oldest sister. I feel like I'm a spitting image of her, and I've said that from day one, and that was like me holding. But I was also in a place where, am I holding on to hope that this is going to be it, so I can end this search, or do I really see myself?
Yeah.
Other people see it, so now I know.
Yeah. And sometimes you just know.
Yeah, yeah,
You
so
just know.
when I saw my oldest sister, she's 3 years older than me,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, like, you're me and I'm you." So we met, we took the DNA test in a car at a Starbucks. I just had ordered it. I was like, "Let's just take this." And mind you, I had at the time, my baby was only a few months old in tow. I'm like, "This is very strange, but I need this to happen." And my husband at the time was like, "You can't go by yourself. Like, you can I'm like, "I'm going." He was out of town or something was going on with his schedule, and he was like, "You have to wait on me. I'm going as soon as this man tells me he's available to go, I'm going." So we took the test, got the test results back. Of course, 99.999% that he is my dad. At this point, he and I are communicating. I think in his mind, he was like, "There's no way." So he was kind of like, "She's a cool girl. I'll talk to her, but I don't think that I'm her dad." But I also think he was in denial too. So when the test results came back and it was that, he then said, "Okay, I want to get my own test," which wasn't the response that I was expecting because we were creating what I thought was a really good relationship. So that was heartbreaking again. It was like gut punch, like, okay, that's all he said. Not like, "This is great," or "This is bad." Like, it was like, "Well, I'm just going to get my own test too, and I'll call you when it's ready." And that was the end of the conversation. It was like such a gut punch. And I can't call my mom and cry about this and whine about this because she didn't want me to do it anyway. So in her mind, she's like, "Life is fine the way it is. Leave this alone. Like, let this go." As a lot of old school parents are like, just let this go. It's so many family secrets that you just sweep under the rug and never talk about.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking his test. It was 100% or 99.9%. And he was like, "Okay, so now we have this relationship and we have to build upon this relationship." And as great as that sounds, it's been harder than people would think because that dad that I've always known to be my dad, who was clean for years, he
Yeah.
relapsed after finding out that I wasn't his kid because he always believed I was his
Mhm.
child.
Yeah. So that suddenly he suffered a loss.
He suffered a loss
Yeah.
and he started treating me differently. And that was hurtful. That was really hurtful. I think he and I are getting back into our groove. We had a conversation a few weeks ago, um, and said, "Well, I don't have any kids." And I'm like, "I'm always gonna be your kid. Like, I don't care what the DNA says, like, I'm always gonna be your kid."
Definitely.
So I think with that statement alone, he has kinda we're trying to work things out. In a perfect world, honestly, I just had this house built and I have an extra room and I'm like, "Just come here so we can figure things out. I can help take care of you and we can navigate in a positive way because I'm always your kid." In my mind, even though I do have this new biological parent, I've only known him for 3 years. My other dad has been there through the good, bad, and ugly, whether he was
That's the
he
dad, and then there's the
that's the dad.
biological father.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure, for
yeah,
sure. And as an adult, I give a lot of grace to all situations, all things. Like my dad was on drugs when I was younger. There was no grace given there. Like, get off drugs. Like, what are you doing? But
yeah,
I give a lot of grace now because life is tough. Life gets hard. It's overwhelming for people. And if you don't know how to navigate the challenges that come with just living life on the day to day, then you may fall into some really bad habits. One of the things for me with him is when I found out that he was on drugs, it made me never want to touch one ever in life because I saw
yeah,
what I know firsthand what it did to me. So I was like, if nothing else, Dad, like if nothing else, you have that with me. And I was in high school. I went to a school that there was drugs all over that school, and I was never
yeah,
interested in even the option, like, to try anything. So I'm like, if you just hold on to that good that you did, then maybe that'll one foot in front of the other, right? So now we're present day, right? I'm 40. I'm now newly divorced. I have 4 children. These kids are trying to get to know this other family, but it's not easy. It is not an easy thing. It's not like it's just all love and everyone's happy and rainbows. I'm the new girl that and I feel like I'll forever be the new girl. I have siblings that are wonderful. I do love my siblings, but it hasn't been an easy process for us to get to know each other and really create relationships with one another. And it hasn't been that for my dad either. So when the new girl comes in and you have a dad that every girl is kind of fighting to be daddy's girl, and I'm the new girl that he's trying to get to know,
yeah,
just it's difficult. It's difficult and it's stressful and it gets to a point where it's like, I don't even want to try anymore. And so in this moment, and I know this is like ever changing, right? The last time you and I spoke, this wasn't even the case. But right now I'm in the place where it's just like, I need peace. It's hard. Um,
mhm,
I communicate with like 2 of my sisters regularly, and regularly is a stretch. Like I would say we congratulate each other on things going on and we support one another, but there's no like, I just woke up and I wanted to call my sister. We don't do that. And I think for me, I've always kind of wanted that relationship. And when I realized it wasn't going to be that with any of them, really, maybe one,
yeah,
my oldest one, she puts in a lot of effort to create a relationship with me. So maybe one. But yeah, so that's the story. Present day, I will say I'm still working through all of the things, but playing
yeah.
with the cards that I'm dealt, right? Like trying to play the best hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot for anyone to go through. And like when we spoke before, I told you about my ancestry DNA
Right.
test, yeah, there's over 1,000 of us, and there's a new brother and sister that turns up every 6 months a lot of the time, but it's completely different. It was from a donor, not
Right.
like a you know. A actual father there as well, but even then, when with all of the brothers and sisters that I've got, you still have better connections with some than you do. I'm close to like my sister Callie, my sister Samaya there. And then there's other siblings that they're really nice, but you just don't have that level of connection, and that's fine. But it's different for you because they're like family related, whereas ours are we're all strangers, even though we're connected by DNA.
Right.
So to sort of like become part of the family, I can understand why it takes time. And everyone's different. Even with like our siblings, there'd be like somebody new that turns up. They're not interested. They don't even want to know anything. Some are really keen. Some will come for a bit and leave there. So with your circumstances, you got like, 4 or 5 like half siblings there. There's going to be, you know, different views and opinions there, what they want, what they don't want there as well. They might see you as a threat. They might see you as the sister you know, they've always wanted to connect with her. But sometimes it just takes time and patience, you
Patience
know.
is something I don't have, but yeah, and
That
I
is,
think the disconnect here is like, I don't know how they necessarily like see me. And I think that because my brother and I, the one that I grew up with my entire life, like we can talk about anything. It still kind of feels like with these sisters, it's like a eggshell situation that I don't want to necessarily be a part of. Like I
yeah,
would rather just be at peace and
yeah,
things kind of go back to my what my normal was prior and navigate me really trying to figure out all of these sisters and all of their personalities and all of their thoughts
yeah,
and feelings because at the end of the day none of us have anything to do with this at all. It happened to us.
yeah.
It happened to all of us.
And to get it to work, it's still a relationship, so it's a two-way thing. You can only do
Right.
your part there as well. For me, again, it's different with yourself, but I always said to like in like our group of brothers and sisters that you know, I say the same. I'll be in contact with any of the siblings as much or as little as they want to be in contact with me. And it might be a
Mhm.
meet up, it might not be a tour, it might be how's it going, Lee, or sometimes there's a conversation, you know. Um, with like one of my sisters that I'm really close to there as well. So you kind of go with the flow there as well. I think what might be different for yourself if you're like kind of found yourself searching for that sister that you always wanted but never had, you thought, well, now's the opportunity, and it's kind of not quite there as well, and it's a bit, oh, okay, you got
It's
all
just
this. Yeah, I get that, but maybe it changes over time. Sometimes you see things just people go back to their lives and just carry on as normal, and it's like,
yeah.
oh,
So my sisters are all they're very different, but they're good people at their core. I do think that we have been placed in a very uncomfortable and weird situation and people
yeah,
are navigating it the best that they can. This is new to me, but it's also new to them. And then you have a dad that is really his focus all of us are adults now. My baby sister just graduated this past weekend from Howard University, so she's the last one to she's now an adult, right? She's living life.
yeah.
Congratulations, Zoe. But so I just feel like everyone is dealing with this in the best way that they can. I am not everybody's cup of tea for sure. I know that it's you are either going to love me or you're going to hate me, but there's typically no in between. And I get that. I'm a lot to deal with. And this has rocked me to my core. So as we get to like now present day in the last 9 months, this mom that's so great and has been such a big part of every part and piece of my life finally did pass. And very unexpectedly, I know that she was given this 5-year life expectancy. I understand that, but she had a cold. She had a cold. I've seen her in comas. I've seen her passed out from not being able to wake up from this paralysis and the things that happen. She had a cold
Yeah,
and she passed. So incredibly unexpected. The day before she passed, I called her. She still lived in Tuscaloosa. And I called her and we were on FaceTime and I was like, you look kind of sick, girl. Like literally talking like this. You look a little sick, girl. If you don't go to the hospital, because she was adamant against going to the hospital. Now, let's go back a little bit. The goals. She wanted to see her kids graduate high school.
yeah,
She wanted
yeah,
all of her grandkids to know who she was and have real relationships with her. My brother has one daughter. I have four and four kids, not four daughters, but I have four kids and my brother has one daughter. All of those children know my mom, love my mom, have phenomenal relationships with my mom. I can say now, maybe not without tears in my eyes, she made the choice to go on her terms. And that is all that she has really been in control of
yeah,
in a very long time. She had stopped taking her medicine. So the reason though she stopped taking her medicine from what I thought was if you have a 5-year life expectancy and you're diagnosed these very heavy, hard drugs to just help you navigate through the day, at some point your organs start they don't
Yeah.
function properly, right? So the last time that she was at the doctor, they were saying, we're getting some organ issues here and there are some things that are changing. So I am like, I'm all online, like all the herbal things. Like, what can we do for herbal medication that's not affecting you in this way? So I'm finding stuff that's working for her. And then one day she just like stopped taking all of it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Stop. Why are you not taking your medicine? And at this point, me and my mom are best friends. We are best friends. This is my homie. Like, we talk about everything. I'm like, girl, take your medicine. Like, what are you doing? I'm in Atlanta. She's in Tuscaloosa. She wasn't taking the medicine. That night before she passed, I'm on FaceTime with her and I'm like, if you don't either take your medicine or go to the hospital, because she was like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going. I'm coming down there and I'm gonna make you. She passed that night.
Yeah. Do you think she was just physically and mentally exhausted? Because that's
Oh.
a long time fighting. That's a long time. And she would have been getting older.
She was tired, and it's very selfish to say, like, she was tired. I still need her. I still
Of
need
course.
her.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that she's not in the pain that she was in. 'Cause she
Yeah.
fought for it every single day of her. I watched it.
Yeah.
Should happen. So I'm really thankful that she's probably like doing all the things that she loved before this.
Yeah.
However, I don't know how to live without her. And it's not, I've realized over time, it's not her passing, it's me figuring out how to live without her. This is a woman that I talk to multiple times a day, every single day. I wake up and I call her. I would go run little errands and I call her, would go out with my girlfriends, and she would wanna talk to me on the way home to make sure I got there safely, no matter how old. This didn't stop. This stopped when she passed. I don't know yet how to live without her, and that is the hardest part for me.
It changes. It never, that's it. You never, as a therapist, I deal with people who are losing people. I've lost people, like my cousin, and it's not that you never recover from it, but you're never the same person. You're just not. There's like that part of you that's missing there. It takes as long as it takes. You do the things that you need to do, but it's time dealing with it in the right way and time, being positive, talking about it like you do now, that really helps because as a therapist, you point out to people things that they can do to keep the memory alive and pictures up and talk about it, and that helps there as well. But you kind of reduce the level of pain down, and it never fully goes. But then you get to a point where that pain that you've got, you don't actually want it to go because it feels like there's still a part of her there connected there as well. And with yourself, though, I mean, this is a relationship that you may never have had, but somehow through her strength, I mean, her mental ability, the goal setting that she did for me is probably what kept her
I think
active and
so.
going. Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. You get people that like live to 100 and they're always active, setting goals, you want to achieve, keep on moving. And she did
Yeah.
everything that she did, like you said, with the hand that she was dealt to the best of her ability for as long as she could. Almost every day you got with her was like an absolute bonus. I guess you probably
It
look at
was.
it. Yeah,
And I can look at it like that now,
yeah.
but again, at the time, they censored a lot of stuff from us, so I didn't know that this 5-year life expectancy was a thing
No,
until I was actual like, I was high school or an adult
yeah,
at that point. But, yeah, they sheltered us from a lot, and I am incredibly grateful for every
yeah,
moment of every day that I had with her
yeah,
because she was
yeah,
my angel on earth for sure. But I hope that her story is a lesson to people that are drinking and driving and
yeah.
doing things that can truly affected a whole
Of
family
course,
for
of
in
course.
her
Yeah,
the rest of her life. It
yeah,
didn't just affect her. I am 40 years old and this happened when I was 4.
yeah.
So I I hope that what people can take away from this is if you are drinking, don't drive because I'm sure that man did not get in the car and expect this to be the life story that he leaves behind.
The thing is that it devastates people's families, but also probably for that guy's family because you struggle to live with yourself that you can't take it back there and it's your fault and there's no one else to blame, whatever it might
Yeah.
be, you've caused that and you're carrying that around with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
100%. Let me share my mom, this angel on earth. Truly, I believe that when this man went to jail for this, she said if he gets help, she doesn't want him to stay there because two families shouldn't be ruined if
yeah,
he gets help and never does it again.
yeah,
I would not have been able to, that wouldn't have been my story. I wouldn't have been able to say that. Mind you, this woman has a
yeah,
trach in her throat, like screws in her head, like truly, and she's worried about the man that did it to her.
yeah, yeah. That's a special person that
I
can do
agree.
that. Yeah, far better than me.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Because there's no
Uh,
way. There's no way. Even recently, I've like wanted to look for this man and tell him how awful the things that he did. Like, yeah, I'm not that grown yet.
Yeah. No, I under so I certainly get that and every right and it's sometimes it's hard to let certain things go, especially when there's been an injustice
Yeah,
and you're there going, well, this is the last person in the world who deserves it. Yeah, it's happened there. So it's hard. It's hard. This is something you spend a long time in therapy trying to work through. I know from experience, you know?
for sure. For sure. I've been trying to work through all the emotions, but it's just like it's so many things at one time. I feel like I lost my mom and my dad and my biological dad all around the same time. The relationship with my dad is just not my biological dad is just not what I would have liked for it to be.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like a lot of loss at once. However, I do have my mom's optimism, and I know that when you remove, that is making room for what's supposed to be in your life. And I do know that. And I'm going to continue to play this hand with the best way that I can with this
Yeah.
hand, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing in this situation has gone in the way that I expected it to go.
It rarely does. It really does. Well, for everything, there's no
Yeah.
straight lines, you know. For me, when you go through a lot like that, you find that it settles down and things seem to always come at once there. So it does settle down and you're like, oh, this is a bit of equilibrium here. There's a bit of peace and quiet there. I'll take it while I can until someone else comes along. Then you navigate that, you know. You
Let's
change.
hope that my nervous system can stay like just for a while because I
Give
am
me a minute.
exhausted.
This
I'm
is coming.
exhausted. Let's not even discuss the 4 kids and all the activities and all the things they do. I am tired.
Yeah, that one, that one just keeps on going. That does, and it costs more and more.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
And
does.
so you started to speak out, tell your story. What's the future going to look like for you? Because it's a great story. There's so much in your story. It's really interesting. There a lot of courage, a lot of like sadness, a lot of like inspiration. So where are you going to take this?
So ideally, I would love to be in a position to help somebody, whatever that looks like, whether that is helping the kid that has the special needs parent or whatever that looks like, right? I was that kid, whether that is being the woman that is an advocate for we need this drunk driving stuff needs to stop. Every time that I've shared this story with anybody, they know someone that has a story where, oh my God, my cousin, my friend, they found a sister or know who you're related to. Unfortunately, as much as I love my mom and my mom was a wonderful woman, I didn't get the full story. And so I didn't know things that I should have known much sooner. So get the test. As Lee, I'm sure you know, get the test. Like
You never know what's going to come back.
you never know. Or, I would love to just motivate women, kids, anyone that is going through something that they feel like they can't pull themselves out of. Because this was 3 years of just boom, 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 boom. I can't wake up a day without something just huge, major, life changing happening. And that's heavy. And therapy is great. It's a great tool. Use it.
Yeah.
But this was another level. This was next level. But the ultimate goal here is to get this story out and help somebody. If I could save one person with my story so they know that keep going because I am not on the other side yet. However, I see the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Keep
Keep
on
going.
going. Keep on
Keep
going. You'll get there. Yeah. But I think it's a fantastic story and it's been amazing having you on the podcast. We've waited ages to do this. It's well worth the wait. It's been brilliant talking to you and hearing your story and getting your story out there. Thanks so much for coming on, Monet. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.